In this video, I'm going to talk about keyframing, which is what you need to do to be able to make an animation. So a keyframe is really just a recording of the location, rotation, and scale of a particular object. So just like when we're in object mode, we can change the location, we can change the rotation, and we can change the scale of an object. When we add a keyframe, that will record each of those properties. Down here at the bottom of the window, this area right here is called the timeline, and this green line tells us where we are in time. So right now I'm at frame number 1, and I can change just by left clicking anywhere in here to different frames. We're going to use the standard 24 frames per second. So every 24 frames is 1 second. So this is 1 second, and then 48 would be 2 seconds, and on and on and on. And I usually think of this in my head as every 25, close enough. We're not doing anything super exact, so you could think of it as, 100 is 4 seconds, approximately. So the first thing I want to do in making keyframes is make sure I record the starting position of the object. So I'm going to go ahead and move my timeline indicator, my time indicator, back to the beginning using this left-hand button. And then I'm going to turn keyframes on. And while I'm keyframing, I'm just going to leave this on. I can tell it's on with this little key, this little set of keys. You could actually turn it on and off here. I feel like that's pretty dangerous for me because I'll forget. So this is more obvious to me. There's no keys, I'm not keyframing. There's keys, I am keyframing. So in order to make a keyframe, I'm going to, if I want to leave the object where it is, I can make a keyframe just by clicking the arrow, any of the arrows, or if I have my rotate gizmo on, I can click any of these arcs, or if I have my scale gizmo on, I can click any of these scale indicators. So I'm just going to click one of these arrows. And over here, if I move my green timeline indicator out of the way, you can see at frame 1, there's a little yellow line. That means for this object, there's a keyframe. If I select another object, that goes away because that object doesn't have a keyframe yet. So for this object, I'll just focus on this object for a minute. Let's say at about a second in or so, I want this object to be up in the air. So I'm going to go ahead and move this object. Anytime I move, rotate, or scale an object, if I have keyframing turned on, it will automatically insert a keyframe. And it will record those 3 properties of the object. So if I had rotated this object, it would record that, whatever. In fact, I could go ahead and rotate it. So it will record that. So what happens is between my first position and this position and rotation, the computer will fill in what happens in between those 2 times. So I'm going to go ahead and rewind back to the beginning and hit play. And there you go. So in between here and here, it rotated as much as I had rotated it, and it moved up. And you can, let's see, I'll go ahead and do a keyframe at like 50. Let me move it around. Maybe I want it to go over here somewhere. Now, just because I kind of zigzagged it over here doesn't mean the computer will actually make it zigzag. It's going to go straight from where it was at the last keyframe to where it is now. So let's see if we can get a good view of that. So my first move, up and twist, and then it moves straight to where I moved it at that 3rd keyframe. And then I can add in some more movement. So I want this one. So I have to be careful to make sure I move my timeline back to the beginning. So I'm going to record that block's first position. So maybe I want that block to start there or something. And then maybe really quickly, I want it to zoom up here. And then very slowly or more slowly, maybe I want it to move back down again. Okay, so you kind of get the idea. Let me add in some scaling. Maybe this guy will do some scaling. So I'm going to go back to the beginning again, make sure I'm at frame 1. I'm going to click this to record what that block looks like right now. And then I'm going to move, maybe like, I'm just making this up, and maybe I will do an S to scale and make it get really small, and then maybe make it grow back again. So there we go. So you can see that if you space your keyframes out, the action will happen slower because it's spread out along that amount of time. If you make your keyframes close together, the action will happen more quickly. In the next video, I'm going to talk about what if you want to delete a keyframe, but for now, I can show you that you can keyframe over something. So let's say I didn't really like this keyframe. Maybe I wanted it to be even smaller, or maybe I wanted it to move as well as shrink. So I can, as long as I am at the exact keyframe, my indicator is over that exact keyframe, I can just redo what this object looks like at that time. I can do whatever I want. Maybe I want to make it extra small and I moved it around. So that just made a new keyframe there, because really all we're doing is recording what does the scene look like at that particular time. So as long as you have keyframing on and you change the scene at that particular time, it just resaves over that keyframe. So let's look at what that looks like now. So that's the basics of keyframing. When you're done working with your keyframes, make sure you turn it off, because if you start modeling, it's possible that you might, or moving stuff around, it's possible that you'll be making keyframes that you didn't intend to make. So always, if you're keyframing, you can just leave it on, but once you're done, make sure you turn it back off by clicking that button.